Hello, everyone, and welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about Ken Wakes, or Wax. Wax? I don't know. Waks. The guy off of TikTok who is a self-proclaimed private investigator looking into a criminal organization somewhere in the city of Chicago and possibly across the United States. He's gotten into some hot water because, you can't play the role of investigator and not actually be an investigator, because that does give you certain levels of authority and certain amounts of proper claim to what you're doing and the questions you're asking versus, hey, I'm just a civilian walking around or calling people and essentially asking them questions that could make them very uncomfortable, make them recall things that might be very fresh or very painful memories, and basically causing a ruckus around a whole investigation that's already taken several years to get to where they're at now and could have been impeded even further had he continued. But in either case, let me know what you think down in the comment section, because I love to hear what y'all think. It's always the most interesting thing to hear what anybody thinks on matters like this. And other than that, I'd appreciate a like and maybe a subscription if you like the sound of my voice or the content you see here today. So I wanted to cover this today and read you an article I found here. A TikTok investigator faces fallout after claiming to crack a serial killer case. Here's a picture of the man right here in the middle. The article is by Deja Tolentino. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But let's begin. Since early March, Ken Wakes, a TikTok creator with 1 million followers, had been pursuing an investigation into a potential serial killer working in various cities in the U.S. The Chicago-based marketer has claimed that someone, or even a group of people, has been targeting men walking home from a bar or a club at night and dumping them in rivers across the country. However, Wakes soon became an object of scrutiny himself, with other TikTok users now referring to his case as Kentroversy. Like many true crime sensations, his series garnered a lot of support and millions of views, but many viewers started to get suspicious when in late April, Wakes posted videos claiming that a private investigator had showed up to his house and recruited him into a team. The Smiley Face Killers case is a true crime theory alleging one or more killers murdered and dumped dozens of men into rivers. A Smiley Face Killers docuseries was released on Oxygen, which is owned by NBC Universal. Here's a TikTok video of Ken himself, and we're just going to watch this real quick. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this guy's take, because I've watched it before, and he just seems like he's a guy who needs something better to do with his life. Like, this is not the way to go, and paranoia is not going to help.
I'm okay. Thank you, everyone, for your concern. Thank you for looking out for me and for the wellness checks, and thank you for my parents for calling the police to make sure that I was okay. We spoke for two and a half hours. There's actually another detective who I will, not mention the name of, who has been trying to get in touch with me for a couple of days now, to speak with me about the stuff that I know, which is very useful to them. So there's a lot that I know that I have never been able to post on here, and I won't be able to post on here because I am apparently now part of the team.
And that card didn't prove anything. It looked like a generic little, I got this made at a card shop, or I made it myself out of construction paper and a printer. I don't know, it doesn't look very convincing, and the idea that he'd try to pass this off as legitimate is laughable. I don't know, it just feels so weird that he would randomly think that he's going to be some key piece in this investigation that's essentially what it sounds like, a cold case that goes back years, if not decades potentially, and it's just going to come back up again and he's going to be the one to break the case on TikTok? I don't think so. Yeah, I could give it that if you were, part of a real authoritative force and had real investigative, evidence and background going into this, I'd believe you, but then I'm sure someone would come out with the idea that, oh, well, it's a government conspiracy and any internal jobs would be obviously compromised from the start. There'd never be a true story you'd get through that. There'd never be a way you get the truth. And it's just like, maybe, but I'm also not just going to trust some random Joe off the street in his paranoid thoughts.
Thank you again for checking on me, for supporting me, for believing in me and believing me, period.
I always wonder when people say that, like, oh, thank you for believing me. How many people actually believe them? Because the same thing I have with these videos. It's like I would like for people to share the same opinion as me, but if they don't and they feel the need to share it, let me know down in the comments. I like to have a discussion. I like to see other perspectives. It allows me to expand my mind, as it were, and reaffirm who I am as an individual or challenge the thoughts that I already have. I just wonder with people like this, How much are they aware of that? How much of them is conscious about what they're doing and how these people may genuinely be reacting to what they're saying? The following section of the article starts with Lynch and others online then began expressing public skepticism towards Wax after they noticed he mentioned Forstyle, a social calendar startup where he worked as a chief marketing officer. In two videos about his amateur detective pursuits, critics called his motivations into question, sparking a debate on creator ethics. Wax told NBC News in an email statement that he started his series because he wanted to raise awareness about a potential public safety issue in Chicago. He said he was approached on 2 occasions by an individual trying to lure him into a car while he was walking home from a bar. NBC News reviewed the police reports Wakes filed regarding the incidents. NBC News reviewed emails sent by a spokesperson for Wakes that appear to show communication between him and private detective Jordan Shear and Gannon discussing his research. Shear, owner of RA Private Investigation and Security, confirmed in a phone interview that he connected with Wakes to see if his research could be useful. He clarified that his team was not working in partnership with Wakes, who is an unlicensed citizen. After seeing a now deleted post from the CEO of Forstyle, viewers began to wonder if Wakes' series was just a marketing ploy to direct traffic to his startup. The post praised Wakes' organic integration of Forstyle into his recent viral content, which included videos about his investigation. Justin Burnett, a TikToker with 15,000 followers, said Wakes made an example of himself, but believes that incident is something that people can learn from. Wakes' follower count has since fallen back to 1 million amid the fallout from his investigation. Burnett, a military police veteran with investigation experience, was initially optimistic about Wakes' series on TikTok. However, after Wakes declared that he had cracked the case, Burnett felt like some of his claims weren't adding up and warned against content creators gaining clout off of people's misfortunes. Burnett also said that videos like Wakes can be insensitive to grieving families who are still looking for answers about their deceased loved ones. Burnett said creators need to ask themselves, is what I'm doing causing harm? Burnett, Lynch, and other critics have argued that Wakes' videos are harmful to families of the deceased men included in his investigation. Joan Pohill, whose son Jay died in 2010 in Chicago, attests to this. Here's another video by Ken. Let's take a look at this one.
I'd like to take a moment to address something that has come to a head over the last week. As many of you know, this investigation has been my all-consuming passion over about the last month, and what started as my honest effort to bring more awareness to a serious public safety matter, my reporting on this topic has since turned into a contentious subject, and I now realize that it's not my place at all to continue chasing this story despite my own personal connection to it with those 2 attempts on me.
I just never can understand where someone who doesn't even have a background in private investigation or investigations at all would think themselves appropriate to enter that field of work, even if it's just as a side passion project. If anything, if it's a side passion project, you should be like, you know what, actually, I don't think I belong there, because it requires much more than that to fully suss out all the details of investigations and crimes, essentially.
I haven't been sleeping as much as I should. I've burnt myself out, and I frankly got a little bit lost in the sauce over this story. I acknowledge that it was insensitive to reference my startup on those 2 occasions and posts pertaining to this case. But I made a mistake by intersecting those 2 parts of my life, and I want to apologize for the families impacted for having overlapped this other part of my life in this in an inappropriate setting.
His apology just feels so empty here. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It just sounds like, oh, I got caught for lying, or I got caught for, being caught up in something that I had no business being involved in the first place. And now I have to say, I'm sorry. Your apology means nothing. You've already hurt these people. You've already had the effect of running your mouth, basically. And now here we are.
The information about the suspects that my team and I have been able to find has been passed to the proper authorities. I've decided to no longer post about this story publicly to prevent further conflict.
I think he's a strange man, one who really overshot for the moon on this one. He saw some attention, he got the clicks, he felt like he had something he could do, and I'm not going to speak to the validity on his belief in what he was doing, because I don't know. I don't know the man. I can't say what he said in private because I'm not there for those conversations. But either way, I don't think it was right to play the role of private investigator when you have no power, no authority, and no real effect. And granted, if the evidence he and his team provided to the investigators does lead to an arrest and was properly valuable or something, good on him. Seriously, because at least they did something worth effort and the effect and the trouble that they went through. and the pain they put people through. He's his own mess, and it's just gonna disappear into the wind like nothing else. If you enjoyed the video, let me know by leaving a like, possibly subscribing to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate every single one of you. I hope you have yourselves a great day. Talk to you later.